Hello and welcome, friends of gaming and sailing!
Sailboat data for a sailor who's looking to narrow down the selection of boats that he want to purchase. I'm sort of in this process, far from really buying a boat because there is a difference between buying and owning, responsibly owning. So not there yet, but I'm definitely narrowing down my selection and looking for certain boats. And I will share with you how I work with this page. I'm by no means an expert, so maybe there is something that I'm missing, and you are really welcome to add your thoughts in the comment section. Should I miss something worth sharing? But it's about the page sailboatdata.com, more than 8,000 production boats. You'll really find basically every major sailboat in there, manufacturers, designers, which is very useful. So how to work with this page? I mean, obviously you can scroll down and look on the hundreds and hundreds of pages of boats. But where it comes really handy is in this refine search area. So I keep it in feet. It's a traditional way of measuring. So careful if you are looking into the data of newer production boats. They might be in meters. So just remember, keep in mind that we are working with feet here. You can select the monohull or multi-hulls, even the keel types, which is quite handy. And there is more to select than just that. Okay, so say I want to take 100 results per page because I don't want to scroll too much through the pages. And I will be working with an example that I'm in particular looking for. Yours might vary, but you can apply the same approach. So a couple of abbreviations here. So length overall and length of the waterline. These are the two really important figures. And say that I'm looking for a boat that's maximum 33 feet and minimum 26. That's length overall. And that means from really the start of the boat, whatever you have there, even if you have an extension, it's really from there to the absolute end of the boat, saying in layman terms. So if there is a swimming platform, it's up to the end of the swimming platform. If you add some additional steering vanes, it counts in for marinas. And for sailboat data, it's what the manufacturer gave in. So keep in mind that what you have in here might vary from what you pay in the end in the marina. But to get a general sort of impression here, this might be what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a boat that can be easily single-handed, but where a couple can comfortably fit in. And maybe even if the kids come around, so you can spend a couple of days a week in this boat, a bit cramped but still working. It should be a decent boat. It gives a certain seaworthiness, and you will not leave an arm and leg in the marinas. So where the waterline length comes in, there's a difference between how long a boat is and how much waterline it has for two major reasons. Traditional boats are shaped more, say, sailing comfortably, more conservative, and they have a reasonably longer length overall to the length of a waterline. And modern boats that are more designed to be comfortable in marinas and on anchor tend to keep the waterline length as close to the length overall as possible. It's a difference, and it comes into play with as well the speed of the boat, because there is a wave function that determines the hull speed, and this is derived from the water line length. So I don't have a preference here in the water line length. It basically gives you as well the accommodation space in the boat. So careful with that. For someone who's looking more for luxury and comfort, this will be an important area. Now, I really like traditional boats, so I would put in full keel and twin keel. It's just personal preference. I like this more traditional, more conservative styles of boats. We will come into his Carl Albrecht design and so on. Who knows, will understand, who not, we will come to it. Display units, that's okay. Imperial, like I said, in feet, because that's the traditional measurement. And more ways how to filter the boats. So displacement, I don't care so much in the selection here, but this would be, for example, really important for you if you are looking for a trailer sail. So you could put, say, 4,000 pounds, and then you could put into the beam and the draft. This is an interesting one, that's ballast and displacement. So if you are preferring a certain ratio between displacement and ballast, you can add it in here, but there is another way how to get that much more smarter, and I will show you one. Cellular to displacements and so on, displacements line, comfort ratio and capsize ratio. Now, these two are sort of artificial calculations. The comfort ratio puts into perspective the length and the wave, and it should give you a certain impression how comfortable the boat should be, and the idea behind this is more how prone to seasickness this will be or not. And then there is this capsize ratio, which is an interesting artificial calculation that gives you, the idea is to put in some seaworthiness. After a race in which many of the boats capsized, they came up with this ratio calculation, and they say for the race nothing above 2.0 could race. That doesn't mean that a boat above 2.0 is not seaworthy. Like I said, it's artificial, the calculation, and it's just a theoretical item, but it gives you certain perspective. So I keep it under 2.0 as well. But I don't have so much experience with so many boats to actually tell whether 2.5 is bad in relation to 30 feet length overall and 26 feet water line and 2,000 or 4,000 pounds. That's something that comes with experience. As a beginning sailor searching, I mean, if they say, hey, no boat goes to this race across the Atlantic with more than 2.0, then I take it. One of the other drop-down menus that you can select, and it's quite useful, is the rigging. So you can really select if you know what you want, even up to a junk rig. This is amazing. Keep in mind this is just for the manufacturer's data. So what I use is built after 1970, because I'm not looking for wooden boats. And that's for the start, that's sufficient for a quick search. So I put search in, and now the page should give us the data. They didn't, so what's wrong? Okay, most probably there is no boat under 4,000 pounds. Let's redefine the search. So as you can see, you can make criteria, and if nothing lists, one of your criteria is just not in combination with the others real. So now we have, let me go again through the criteria, 26 to 33. We haven't defined the displacements because there's nothing in this field that has a capsize ratio under 2.0 and at the same time would be trailerable under 4,000 pounds. So not going. So let's make another try. Let's erase this and let's put the 4,000 pounds back. If there is a trailer sailor that would fit the other criteria, and there is, as you can see, there are there is a certain selection. So, for example, Gypsy. I hope I read this correctly and I'm butchering the name. So 70s old type of construction and capsize 233. So is this a decent boat? I never been on one. I cannot tell. From the data, simply looking at the data, it seems so. Accommodation quite decent. 1 berth, 2, 3, 5 berths. I mean, it looks really decent. The head, meaning the toilet, is close to the cockpit. I like this type of placement. I prefer it against the placement between the V-berth and the saloon. So this is a possible option for someone who is more prone to trailer than I mean seaworthiness, but don't take this really don't take it absolutely. So we keep the after 90-70 capsize ratio under 2.0, and we remove the 4,000 pounds because we know this combination isn't working. So now we are getting into boats that by modern terms we would say are prone to be more offshore boats than coastal boats. And the first one that we see is the Albert 29, designed by Carl Arberg. Albert boats have a serious reputation of seaworthiness. They are, in general, considered to be really seaworthy. Carl Albert designed those on the folk boat Scandinavian influences. So as you can see, basically a full keel here. It will be a heavy displacement for sure. Let's see how much we have. Yeah, it's like 9,000 pounds with 4,000 pounds ballast. That's a nice ratio. Nice ratio. So it brings a screen capsize from to 177. So as a beginner, I as well tend to really focus a lot of those numbers, but I would say, yeah, take it with a grain of salt. There is more to a boat than just the figures in a table. It's just to give you a raw impression, and I think nothing goes about experience. So pre-selecting boats, visiting them, sailing them, and then making a decision is to me the better way to go. But to narrow down the selection, this is how I work with it. So what you can see is with the sailboat data, mostly you will get a photo, not for every boat. For this one, you get drawings. This is quite nice, including the layout here. Perfect. So you can see it's a decent boat. From the picture, one would say for one person, plenty. 2 person should fit in, and yeah, 4 people cramped. But I mean, it should be working definitely. In the time when these boats have been produced, families have been cruising. And I think even that some of the 29s and 30s have been used as education and school boats. So we see that the hull type is long keel, like we mentioned, and the rigging type is mustard sloop, which again is one of the selection criteria by which you can filter length overall, and now you can see the length overall versus the water line. So basically you have a almost 30 feet boat that has a 22 feet water line. So that's the traditional design. Modern boats would have a much slower difference and much more living space. What you sometimes see, and not all the time, would be the headroom. That would be for me, for example, quite important. I'm definitely going for a boat that has a 6 feet and more headroom. Sometimes it can be shown here. Unfortunately, it's not the way how to filter it out, and some boats have it. Most boats don't. So depends on what boat you select. You see the engine tip. Some of the calculations, cell area to displacements, ballast displacement, and so on. For me personally, like I mentioned, there is the type, definitely something that I'm defining, length overall, length of waterline. Displacement, in case I don't think I will be moving the boat behind the car, not so important. And what I'm looking for is this capsize screen formula. Yeah, comfort ratio gives you some relation for, say, a boat up to 33 feet. I would ideally want to have a higher one. 35 would be my goal, but this is plenty. This is okay. Now, two more things that I think really make sense to have a look at is the designer and builder. And this is how I select, make my pre-selection for a boat. So designer Carl Arberg, I click on the designer, a very short summary of his designs. So you can see that he was with Pearson's and Cape Doris, which are the names in the US. For my friends here in Europe, that might not ring so many bells. I mean, it's highly praised in the US. In Europe, we have different boats and different designers, but just saying, you have a very highly appreciated designer here designing in US. And look, I mean, I would love to have a color boat, just stating. So what you can see is all the boats that he has designed, some legendary boats in there. His Albeck Sode is quite renowned. Cape Doris, like the Cape Dory 25D, it's renowned as a really small pocket cruiser that can cross oceans. Cape Doris in general, just have a look how many he designed, and it goes on and on. So these are all of his designs. There's this interesting Typhoon 18, for example. Like imagine an 18-foot boat, full keel, accommodation and everything. So this is a wonderful curiosity, because I would say this is, to me, it's the most seaworthy 18-foot boat that I ever saw in the technical data here. I would love to sell one. So if any one of you here listening on the channel owns this one anywhere in Europe, just let me know. I would really like to give it a try and sell this one. So just out of curiosity, right? I'm looking for something else, but I would really love to see how this handles. So this is a simple introduction to sailboat data. You pre-select your boat. Let me go back, and then you can go and select further, and after a while you can come to a conclusion that you like a special designer and filter all the boats done by the designer, or you can come to the idea that you like a specific manufacturer and you go by the manufacturer. And then you see, I would say, all of the production they had. The sailboat data has really mostly everything in there. Again, just take a look. You go either what you prefer, length, waterline, years built. Some people like really the classics from the 70s. Some people are saying, no, I want nothing older than 10 years. I don't want to change the rigging. I don't want to have the issues with the insurance and financing. It really depends on your priorities. But whatever priorities you have, I found this sailboat data webpage amazing. I mean, it's free. Yes, there are some commercials, but it's free. There's a ton of information. You just select a boat, pictures. Really, 99% of boats have a drawing or a picture, and you have all the data that you need for theorizing the hell out of it, right? What I love to do is, sometimes just open the browser here and just going through the boats and studying the boats. And in my main computer that at work, I have like at least 4 or 5 windows open with each boat, and everywhere I have like 1 or 2 boats, and just comparing all the time forth and back, somewhere in the sizes that I'm looking for, and always analyzing, and really sort of can be a fun experience just to play around with, at least for me. So yeah, that's everything for this very short, as you can see, unscripted introduction to sailboat data. And look, this channel is not about the highest professional delivering the highest professional content. This is really more about, hey, I love sailing, I love gaming. Let's create a space where we can come together and share experiences and improve. So thank you very much for listening, and till next time. Bye bye.